So after one of the busiest transfer windows in years, the teams are ready to make their charges towards their expected positions, as it were, and we begin our live coverage of that part of the season for Manchester United with a trip for them to Turf Moor to take on Burnley, and they have a bit of an issue with Luke Shaw being revealed to have suffered an ACL injury last time out against Spurs, and that might cause a couple of headaches for Gregg Popovich. But if we know him, he'll make the best of it. He always dealt with such injuries in his San Antonio Spurs days. As we have a look at a player debut for Alfonso Pedrosa, who I believe signed on deadline day through Villarreal. Manchester United's newest signing, Alexander Isak, who signed on deadline day, unfortunately doesn't make the team so far today. But I don't think Gregg Popovich wants to take many risks with any of the established youngsters just yet. We do have an international break coming up as well. I think Greg wants to end that on the best possible momentum builder he can. Considering he's won the first three games, any kind of similar situation here will do him the world of good. He's in the top four, but Manchester City, Liverpool and Chelsea are also with him, so he needs to keep pace, unlike last year. Can he do it? Tom Heaton starts in goal for Burnley. He normally has whirlies against his former club, as it were. Loughton is with Tim Dorsey and Ward today. Goodasson is with Dufour, Henderson and Pedrosa, new signing in the midfield. Hendrick plays behind, I believe it's Chris Wood up front, as Sam Vokes makes the bench.
Thank you. Enjoy the game.
Gregg Popovich sends out David De Gea in goal as usual. He had to keep a clean sheet this season. Fusimens is with Lindelof by Maguire and Cameron Ball for Jackson. It's a back five today. Fred and Pogba, the usual suspects in the midfield. Behind Alexis Sanchez, up front is Marcus Rashford and Anthony Martial, as you would probably expect. Well, Turf Moor has been always a bit of a problem ground for Manchester United in recent seasons. Let's see if that proves to be the case again today. And it could be already. But Maguire has that deflected shot into the arms of David De Gea. Lindelof, did he get the ball? The referee says no, it's a free kick. No booking there for Lindelof, it looked rash. I don't think he meant to foul the player. The ball jumps. Oh, what a strike by Goodasson. It's a free kick goal for Burnley. What a strike. No stopping that one. And Burnley have the lead. And it's a beautiful hit. David De Gea is nowhere near that, to be fair. Well, we say that David De Gea hasn't really kept a clean sheet this season. Oh, he's right over the wall. That is perfect. What a peach by Goodasson. And once again, David De Gea is beaten. And it's unusual, isn't it? Because most of the goals what beaten David De Gea have been wordlies like that. Well, if you are going to beat David De Gea, you're going to have to earn it. And the teams that have scored against him, they have earned it. And Burnley have the lead, and United, rather unlucky really, because Lindelof did intend to go for the ball. But he took out the player instead, and I think that's more the fault of him than anything else. But the free kick from Goodasson take nothing away. It's an absolute peach. And no stopping that for David De Gea. And Burnley are one in front. And here comes Fred, immediately on the attack. He's responded. Fred has responded. And we have already a second goal as well. And that's Fred's first goal of his Manchester United career, I think. And immediately off the kickoff, we have two goals in the space of like a minute. And Gregg Popovich's team have responded immediately, and the best possible response. Fred just really cuts in, and that's another worldly strike. We're getting some really good goals this season, aren't we? I don't know how Fred got that into such a gap. Tom Heaton's unlucky, to be fair. He just misses it. And there's no shortage of response in this team from Popovich. He had to come from behind, I believe. No, he hasn't had to come from behind yet, actually, but he's done it already. It's cancelled out. And 1-1 within a couple of minutes. And we already have two goals. And if it keeps going like this, we're in for a bit of a scoring match today. Now Pedrosa keeps playing a lot of square balls. It's not going to work against Borford Jackson. Fusimens that have played well in that kind of role. Well, it's 1-0. And Manchester United very unlucky to concede. They played well defensively, but Lindelof giving away a free kick to Goodasson, which was beautifully taken to beat David De Gea. Absolutely no chance of him getting there. But immediately off the kickoff, Manchester United responded with a first goal in Manchester United red, fourth red, and that means the score at half time, it's all square at 1 apiece. Fred. Sanchez. Lays it down to Fuzu Mensah, crossed it in towards Rashford. Fuzu Mensah back in again. And finds Fred. Finds Alexis Sanchez. Good save by Tom Heaton. That's the first save he's had to make this afternoon. It's a good one. Tom Heaton just on the fringes of the Manchester United first team, but he had Van der Sar and the like to contend with back in his day here. And it's going to be very hard for someone like Tom Heaton to get in the team. Oh, with the corner! Oh, it's in. And that's a brilliant header. And I think that might be Martial, and it is. And Manchester United seem to be scoring a lot of corners. If you remember, Alex Hunter scored in the American Challenge Cup. It's a great header from Martial. And another goal for Anthony Martial as he continues his tremendous rise in the Premier League. And under Gregg Popovich, he has been pretty unstoppable, to be honest. And it's another goal for Manchester United. They just seem to keep on scoring. And they have completed the turnaround. Well, they've done about maybe 75% of it. But even still, they are ahead. And there's no surprise that the comeback factor is back at Old Trafford. And United now back where they belong. And that's ahead of the team by 2-1 as of right now. But I wouldn't count there being more goals yet. Now takes it short to Fuzu Mensah. And they get the ball away. Next to Manchester United will be a trip to Watford. With the international break. There's no doubt, it's lovely Gregg Popovich passing play, always attacking and always willing to share the ball, much from his basketball days, to be honest. That's it. And it in! Oh! And David De Gea was in no man's land as substitute Jack Cork just threw himself at it. Oh my, that was going in, wasn't it? David De Gea just absolutely flying at it. And now Fred as well. Fred's still there. He's gone ball chasing. He might be pulled back for a foul. Have to wait and see. Good header back by Bulford Jackson. Fred is going to get booked for that, apparently. Seems harsh. And there seems to be no... Manchester United seems to be getting a lot of bookings. They've had a lot of bookings in the first few games of the season, although I think this one is particularly harsh. The replays have completely skimmed over it, so we can't really tell. Oh, and Lindelof almost got completely took out. I think that would have been a foul on Burnley, to be honest. Well, this has been a tight game, that's for sure. But it's over. And Manchester United grab another 3 points with a comeback victory today. Gregg Popovich still has his 100% start to the season. 12 points out of a possible 12 in the league. As we head into the international break. Manchester United certainly the red hot team in the top 4 at the moment. With a goal from Martial and a goal from Fred as well. After Gunnarsson scored a wonderful free kick. But Manchester United again, really defensively, at least in open play, were absolutely tremendous with more good performances from Bulford Jackson and Fuzu Mensah. And Manchester United, they seem almost unstoppable. Burnley, they really gave them a good game, to be fair. But Manchester United, they are just that little bit better in defensively all across the board. But that free kick, look at that. Absolutely tremendous. You can take nothing away from Gunnarsson, but Manchester United immediately responded with Fred and then Martial scoring in the second half with a bullet header. And once again, Gregg Popovich, his team has won again, and it's a 100% 12 out of 12 as that man continues to make waves. Burnley 1, United 2. Let's have a classified check on all the scores from the weekend. Leicester City have Liverpool, the first team of the top 4 to drop points this season, as they were held to a 1-1 draw at the King Power Stadium. Brighton with a 1-1 draw against Fulham as well, with Manchester United beating Burnley today. Chelsea lost to Bournemouth in the end by 2-1, and Eddie Howe, that's a good result against one of the top four as he continues his rise in the Premier League. Crystal Palace lost to Southampton by 2-1. My apologies. Everton beat Huddersfield by the same scoreline as well, 2-1 today. West Ham beating Wolves by 1-0. Manchester City absolutely thumping Newcastle United by 3-1. And finally, well, not finally, there's a couple more results. And lastly, the two London clubs, Arsenal losing again to Cardiff by 2-1, while Spurs beat Watford by the same scoreline. A lot of 2-1s today. That means the Premier League table now looks like this. The two Manchester clubs are the only ones now with 100% winning records, as Liverpool, as we said, drop points. Chelsea into 4th, while Spurs go into 5th place. Bournemouth and Eddie Howe absolutely flying in 6th place now. Everton 7th with Burnley in 8th despite their loss today. Cardiff with their good win at Arsenal move up to 9th. West Ham in the completing the top 10. It's Palace as Leicester continue to rise after their defeat to Manchester United at the start of the season. Brighton in 13th with Newcastle, Southampton and Wolves. Watford are on 1 point with Fulham. And at the bottom, well, it's the surprising team of Arsenal down in 19th at the moment. Something's not right with Unai Emery all of a sudden. We know he had a difficult start, but he's had more than that, as he's played 4 and lost all of them somehow. And Huddersfield down at the bottom, due on goal difference. And hopefully something changes at the Emirates soon, because Arsenal have had a pretty poor start to the season somewhat. So for Manchester United, it's the last game before their match day 1 fixture in the Champions League against Valencia. And if you guys saw the provisional squad this morning, you would probably realise that Gregg Popovich has got really all his eyes on that. A lot of bigger names per se actually missing out today, as Gregg wants to kind of make up for his team's kind of lackluster performance in a way in the Champions League last season, going out in the first round, knockout round against Valencia. So Gregg is putting a lot of smaller names out there today, notably Joel Pierre gets another start in the Premier League in goal, and speculation is starting to fuel over the future of David De Gea with Joel Pierre rising so quickly, but I think there's no doubt that David De Gea will be at United for the foreseeable future. But I think Joel Pierre is getting some sort of induction into being his replacement one day. We always know that every season David really is for the eyes of Real Madrid and Barcelona, even going back to Atletico Madrid one day. Well, we'll never know for now. We'll have to wait and see. Well, for today, Kraft is in goal over Ben Foster today. From errors with Kandemze, Hunter and Munzer. Hunter's the new signing, by the way. Kapoor is with Dinkor, and De Gea is with Tom Cleverley, who gets to start against his former club. And Pereira, Troy Deeney, is up top to bang in some goals.
Thank you for attending.
For Gregg Popovich, this is the full squad then. Joel Pierre is in goal, definitely. Darmian is with Phil Jones, Axel Tuanzebe and Marcus Rojo being made makeshift left back today. Herrera is with Jesse Lingard and Scott McTominay in the midfield. It's Andreas Pereira with Jesse Zardes and Anthony Martial up front to hopefully bang in a goal or two today. Manchester United have been the scoring king so far this season. Scored in every one. They've won every one so far. They are now 4 for 4 in the win column. I have to factor that in mind. So Gregg's Achilles heel seems to be big European clubs at the moment, which makes sense. Oh, Jesse Lingard, that's a beautiful pass. Jesse Zardes, oh, has he put that wide? How has he done that? Such a beautiful ball by Lingard, and Zardes latching onto it wonderfully as well, but just could not get the shot on target. Oh my word, Zardes should be scoring. There's no doubt about that. He should be banging that in. Jesse Lingard, what a pass. And everything was perfect but the finish for Manchester United on that occasion. Lingard. Here comes Jesse Zardes. Seconds left of the first half. Zardes into it. Martial. He can't do it. Lingard back into Zardes. Back into the box. Manchester United doing a lot of crossing in this first half. 0-0 at the break. Probably a fair result. There's been even chances either side. I think Manchester United have been the better team to a degree. They've created the more chances, most of it crosses. So I think Manchester United might have to switch it up for the second half and trying to get maybe back more to 2 up front. It does seem to be Gregg's preferred style to get the goals. But at the break, there's none here. 0-0. Next fixture for Watford will be a trip to Fulham, Craven Cottage specifically, to take on the Fulham team. Newly promoted, of course. Martial. Manchester United love to move the ball around under Coach Pop. And just to confirm that fixture for you, it will be Manchester United back in the Champions League. Match day 1 to face Juventus. Here's Piera. James Lingard, Herrera is passing. It's Gregg Popovich play. And it's wonderful to watch. Oh, and there's a gap there. Martial has exploited it. Surely he's got to score, and he does. Oh my goodness. The Watford defender just lacking off. And Martial, he doesn't miss, and he takes a dive as well. Look at this. It's almost like Martial wrong-footed his man, and he belted it in the goal, to be fair. Wonderful goal. Oh, cracked is unfortunate, because it just goes past him. And Anthony Martial has scored once again for Manchester United. He never seems to stop scoring. And it's the second goal of the season in the Premier League. And it gives United the lead. Watford 0, United 1, and probably now going to go in total command. Good ball. Alfeo again. Blocked out by Zardes, out for a corner. United's so good defensively recently. They may concede the odd goal here and there. They've conceded no more than 1 all season so far. Grand total of 3 goals in the 4 or 5 games they've played so far. Oh, and curse of the commentators again, isn't it? The curse of the commentators has struck again. I apologise, it is a good goal for Watford. A little bit scrappy defending from United, to be fair, and they're all over the place. And Joel Piera, that's his first conceded goal of the season, unfortunately. Oh, he's had a good run, hasn't he? And let's just see how this worked out. It was from the throw, the corner, I believe. The corner was taken short. I don't think anyone at Manchester United expected him to do that. The ball's everywhere. And there might even be an own goal from Tuanzebe here. Oh no! The Watford man has done a really good job to get his head in front of Tuanzebe and onto the ball. Good goal. Another good goal by Manchester United's opponents. It's Piera that's got it. And it looked a scrappy goal, but to be fair, Watford do deserve it. You always deserve it when you score. There's no doubt about it. It looked a real scrappy one. Looks like Manchester United were nowhere defensively in Tuanzebe. Well, he's rather unfortunate, to be fair, because Pereira did a really good job of getting in front of his man, and he almost scored again there. Joel Pereira atoning for that. Good gather there. And there is no more time. That is the end of the game. And Manchester United will probably see this as 2 points dropped. They were the better side for the majority of the game. It's unfortunate, but Gregg Popovich is still unbeaten as far as the season is concerned, and he will take that. It was a good goal from Watford, to be fair. But Manchester United definitely have the better game. But they just couldn't put the chances away. You remember Zardes earlier in the game? They'll probably rue that. But Gregg Popovich has negotiated this match with a point or more going into the match. He's focusing on more, which is definitely the Champions League. It's 2 points dropped, but he's still unbeaten. Watford 1, United 1. Starting the weekend's results classified at Spurs, and they threw a wrench into the works as far as the title race is concerned by beating Liverpool by 1-0, while Bournemouth and Leicester were held each other to a 0-0 draw. Chelsea and Mauricio Sarri thumping Cardiff by 4-1 as Mauricio Sarri continues his impressive start to the year. Huddersfield beating Crystal Palace by a goal to nil. Manchester City, the team with the only winning record, 100% in the league now, as they beat Fulham by 2 goals to nil. Arsenal, following on from their win of Cardiff, and unfortunately lost again to Newcastle. It seems to be very up and down for Unai Emery at the moment. And Watford, of course, holding Manchester United to a 1-1 draw. And finally, for the weekend, I believe, oh no, we've got a few more. Wolves beat Burnley by 2 goals to nil. Everton beat West Ham by 3 goals to nil. And finally confirmed, actually, that is it. Southampton beating Brighton by... they held each other to a 1-1 draw. My apologies. So the two Manchester clubs still leading the way at the top of the table. Manchester City with a 100% winning record, while Manchester United dropping points today. Chelsea's win puts them up to 3rd in the table, with Everton moving into the top 4, taking advantage of Liverpool's loss to Spurs while they won at West Ham. Spurs dropped to 6th, move up to 6th rather, following that win. Bournemouth 7th with Burnley 8th, Leicester up into 9th, recovering well after their opening day loss to Manchester United, and Newcastle in completing the top 10. Crystal Palace, West Ham, Wolves, Brighton, Watford, Southampton and Cardiff complete the non-relegation places. In there is Unai Emery's Arsenal team, but are 5-1-4 now, and something's not right at Arsenal, but still plenty of time. Huddersfield and Fulham are down there as well in the relegation zone, with Fulham having a wretched start to the year with no wins at all so far.